Hey, you coders out there. We have another TechBiz tutorial. We're doing something a little bit different. This is called Turtle, and it's with Python programming. Back in the pre-COVID days of Programming 1, we would kind of get into small groups with these Finch bots, and we would learn some basics to programming, making this robot move forward and backwards and turning at different angles and those type of instructions. And we can't really do that safely right now in this new norm we're currently in. So just for the time being, we're going to kind of change it up, and instead of using those robots, we're actually going to use Python with this turtle module. And we're going to learn a lot about Python this term, as we always would in Programming 1. And so this is going to allow us to have a little more practice with Python and try something new that I haven't really used a whole lot before. Also, we're going to use an online Python interface, whereas normally we would use a text editor. We use PyCharm in our school, and sometimes people install that at home. But on your Chromebooks, I don't think we can install PyCharm. So we're going to instead use this thing called Repl.it. I'm just going to search for Repl.it, and then you'll see here it says Repl.it, the collaborative browser-based IDE. Pretty sweet. We click on that, and you can make an account or whatever, or sign up, or log in if you already have an account, or we can go to Start Coding. This little window comes up, and it gives you your choice of all these different things. In IT Fundamentals class, when we were discussing a little bit about HTML and CSS, we tried this just as an experiment, and it works really well. So we're going to try this with Python. You'll kind of be my guinea pigs with this, and then you can access this Repl.it on your Chromebooks, which is pretty sweet. So you don't have to install that, and if you're working on this at home from your Chromebook, or whatever, have some makeup work to get done, then this will be a good way to do that. So I'm going to select Python, create REPL, and here we go. We're in here. We got this browser-based window going on here. Main.py. A .py is our Python extension for that, and then we have a little run key up here. Looks like this is going to be our kind of interpreter or emulator over here, and this is our text editor where we put in the code. So here we go. We're going to use this module, and modules with Python are little libraries that allow us to use commands from to create different things with. And this module is called Turtle, and it's basically a drawing type of module. How it works, if you look at my intricate design here, it goes with a grid-based coordinate system. So you have your X, which is your horizontal, you have your Y, which is your vertical, and your 0, 0 is going to be in the middle of the canvas. And then you would define it by how many total pixels that is wide versus tall. So this would be an 80 by 60, because negative 40 to 40 is a displacement of 80, and then 30 to negative 30 is 60. So that's how that would work, just to kind of give you a little visual of how that will. All right. With Python, we use these pound signs for comments, and these comments are ignored by Python, but they're important because when you use comments with your code that you turn into me, it will show me that you understand what your code is doing when you have comments that explain what's happening. And in this case, we're using these as kind of a note-taking strategy. Alright, so we're going to start with a pound sign for our first comment. And when we go in here, we're going to just type in imports turtle module. Alright. Jeez. Alright. Imports turtle module. Alright, and then the way that I would actually type that out on here would be import turtle. Pretty simple. That's how we access that module. All right. The next thing I want to do is I'm gonna put a pound sign on here and say creates our window. So this is going to be like the window for the graphic interface we're using, and we do that by typing in screen is equal to turtle dot screen empty parentheses. This is just commands from that turtle module that we're using. All right. And let's see what else we should do. We need to actually create our pointer. It's eventually going to be a turtle. It's going to start off as a pointer. So on here, I'm going to type in pound, and then for the comment here, I'm just going to put creates our turtle. That gets done by typing in whatever you want your turtle to be named. I'm going to type in Mikey. So when I was a kid, I had a turtle and it had orange markings on it, little background info here, and so I named it Michelangelo off of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character. So that's why I'm calling this one Mikey, and I don't want to have a variable called Michelangelo that I'm going to be typing in a million times. So Mikey on here, and Mikey is equal to turtle dot capital turtle parentheses. Here we go. Last part I'm going to do here is put a pound sign. I want to have a comment on here, closing the window by pressing mouse button, or by clicking the mouse button. And that command in Turtle is screen dot exit on click empty parentheses. Alright, here we go. Looks pretty good. I'm going to run the code and make sure it runs in this little window. Alright. Hey, here we go. We have a little window with our Python turtle graphic in there. We have a little arrow. It's by default, as we notice, pointing to the right. And if I click my mouse in here, boom, it disappears. Nice. Alright, so everything so far so good. So far so good. If you want to take like a snip tool or a screen capture, or even highlight this and put that in your notes, you know, for activity part 1A of using the turtle module, might not be a bad idea for those of you who are in my class. Alright, so you can refer to that later. We are going to make some changes to this code going on from here on out, and here's how we would do it. The change I want to do is actually after naming Mikey and before the exiting command. And what I want to do is I actually want to make that arrow into the shape of a turtle. Otherwise, why use the turtle module if we can't have the pointer be in the shape of a turtle? That seems silly. So here comes my comment. Change pointer to a turtle shape. Alright, and the way I would do that is I would type in Mikey is equal to, nope, just kidding. I would say Mikey dot shape, parentheses, quotation marks, turtle. And here we go. Now if I try to run this again, please be a turtle. Please be. It's a turtle. It's working just fine. Alright, so here we have our screen, and our arrow now is a turtle. Still facing the right direction, mind you. And yeah, looking pretty good. I think that's decent. Alright. Click in there and close it out. So like our turtle has some different properties that we can code. One of them is position. In other words, where is it at on its x and y coordinates? One of them is the orientation. What direction is it facing? What angle? And the other thing it has is a pen or a pencil that you can like drag and lift up and place back down. So here's how these would work. Alright, I'm going to just kind of type these in for example after the shape on here. So if I wanted to place the pen down, then what I would do, or if I wanted to lift it up, kind of depending on what you're doing. But like, let's say I wanted to start and I wanted to have the pen down so that when the turtle moves later, that the pen's down and it will leave a trail behind it. I would type Mikey, which is the name of my turtle, and I would put in dot pen down parentheses. Alright, and that puts the pen onto the surface. If I wanted the pen to go back up after a certain amount of steps, I would say Mikey dot, and as you probably guessed, pen up. Alright, that's how I would do that with the pen. Alright, so maybe here on these notes we could put a comment here that says lowers and raises pen, just for your note-taking purposes. Alright, here's one for clearing the canvas. Alright, so clearing screen. Alright, and the way I would do this is typing Mikey dot reset, and basically Mikey dot reset is going to clear the canvas and it's going to move the turtle back to the original starting position. It's resetting the whole screen. Alright, and I could also go on here Mikey dot clear, and Mikey dot clear is going to clear the canvas, but it's going to leave the turtle at its current position. Alright, so that's the difference between those, and that's ways you can clear the canvas if you want to start a new design. Alright, here we have moving turtle. The way that we would do that set of directions is Mikey dot forward, and in parentheses we would tell it how many pixels forward we want to move it. So 100 would be 100 pixels. It'd move it forward 100 pixels. By default it would move to the right, correct? Because our turtle's facing the right, so it would move towards the right of the screen. And then if I wanted to move it backwards, I would type Mikey dot backward, and then if I put in 50 it would move back half the distance in which you traveled, right? Because that's only 50 pixels. So that's kind of how those commands work. Alright. Another set of directions we would have is rotating the turtle. Alright, so here I'm going to rotate turtle. And the way this would be Mikey dot left, and here this is degrees, right? So that would move Mikey left 45 degrees, so he'd be aimed at a corner. Alright, if I went Mikey dot right 90 degrees, that would move Mikey to the right 90 degrees. So that's how that would look with that. As with anything, you know, just think of like how that would look with a protractor, and if he's facing, you know, the 0 degrees, you know, 90 degrees is going to be moving upwards 90 degrees. moving right 90 degrees, he's going to be facing down towards the bottom of the screen. So it's based off of that orientation. All right, now I think we're ready to try something new with this code. So with these here, you probably want to take a screenshot of that, copy that, put it into your notes for reference. All right, and then what I want to do is make just a few changes. I'm going to clear out those things we just added, except for the shape of the turtle. I want to leave that there, and I'm going to take out those other lines. So basically my code for moving forward here for our little practice, I have import turtle, screen is equal to turtle.screen, Mikey is equal to turtle.turtle, so that's going to be my pointer on there. I'm making the shape of Mikey into an actual turtle. And then down at the very bottom, when I click in the screen, it's going to exit the screen. It's going to exit that little window. So here we go. We want to start off by moving Fred right 45 degrees. Fred was an example I was looking at before, so sometimes I'm confusing myself here, and I should be Mikey. All right. So Mikey, I'm going to move right 45 degrees. So we type that in. If we think back to our notes we had taken before, Mikey dot right. All right, and we want to have Mikey turn to the right 45 degrees, which means he's should be facing our bottom right hand corner. True. All right. Then underneath that, I want to put in Mikey dot forward. Let's go 50. Moves 50 pixels. All right. So probably if we're doing a good job of being responsible coders, we're using our comments. Rotates Mikey right at 45 degrees, and then moves Mikey forward 50 steps or pixels, or however you want to say that. All right. So code looks pretty good. I think we're in good shape. I'm going to press run on here, and let's just see if it works. Hey, look at that. So on here, because the pen by default is down to start with, it drew the line from the origin point of Mikey down to the very bottom. So that worked pretty good. All right. Click in here, and I'm going to close out. Let's add a little bit more. So what would happen here, let's say we want Mikey to now go down. We want to continue that line. All right. So let's try this. Let's go here. Next step. And let's say I want him to now go straight. I want him to go straight down from the screen. All right. So I'm going to put a comment here. Rotates Mikey right at 45 degrees. Let's type degrees up here for crying out loud. And so we already have that code up there, correct? Mikey dot right 45 degrees, and then moves Mikey forward 50 pixels. And we have that up there already, right? Mikey dot forward 50 pixels. Alright, I'm going to run this, and now we could see, I mean, just almost instantly, this is a fast turtle, right? He goes over at an angle, and then he goes straight down. Pretty sweet. Alright, so let's code that, or not code that, let's copy that, let's put that in our notes. And let's think here for a moment. How could we have a turtle draw a rectangle? All right, let's do that. So copy that stuff. Make sure you have access to it for your notes. All right, and I'm going to take out these directions here because these other ones are going to stay the same, right? We have importing the turtle, we have the screen, we have the name of our turtle and the shape of the turtle. Alright, the only thing we're changing in here is the directions where he's moving from, right? So what I want to do now is I want to have like a rectangle. So on here I'm going to start off, I'm going to have Mikey move forward. Alright, and let's say we want the turtle, so Mikey dot forward, alright, and let's say 100 pixels. Alright, and I'm not going to put the comments here for right now because this is just us kind of experimenting and playing around with this. When you're done, you can go and put in those comments to remind you for later. Alright, and if I wanted to go into a rectangle, alright, let's say the sides are going to be 50. Alright, so Mikey is going to go straight 100. What would the next step be? Alright, so I'm going to go Mikey dot right. Alright, and I want to put in 50. Alright, so that's going to move Mikey to the right 50. Or I'm sorry, 90. My bad. I almost messed up right away because I wanted to go 90 degrees. I was thinking of the distance. Alright, one step at a time. So then I would go Mikey forward 50. Alright, so let's check our progress here and let's try this out. Alright, so we have half of it there, right? So then following our pattern, Mikey dot right, another 90 degrees. Mikey dot forward 100. And Mikey dot right 90. And then we have Mikey dot forward 50. Alright, let's try this out and see how it goes. Hey, and there we have it. So, pretty simple, right? I mean, basically the directions for it, you're just going one step at a time. He's going forward 100. He's turning 90 degrees. He's going forward 50. He's turning 90 degrees. He's going forward 100, 90 degrees. So like step by step we're taking Mikey through those steps. Alright, so then what we want to try is this. We want to kind of challenge ourselves here. Let's say we want to make some kind of a box where the corners are not met, and it's kind of like four lines that it's like a square where the corners aren't connected. Alright, so it's hard to explain. So to copy this, put that in your notes. Alright, and then the only thing we're changing again is these directions that we used to have in there. We erase those out, and we're going to make a square where the corners are cut off of the square. Alright, so let's go 50 by 50 for this square. Mikey dot forward, we're going to go 50. Alright, then what I want to do after that is I want to try one of those commands from before with the pen up. Alright, so let's go Mikey dot pen up. Alright, and then I want to go Mikey dot, I mean this is going to be actually a little bit longer than 50 by 50 because we're cutting parts of it off, but you'll see where I'm going at. Each line segment is going to be 50 pixels long. So Mikey dot pen up, then I want to go Mikey dot forward, and let's go with like a smaller number, like 5. All right, and I want to go Mikey dot right 90 degrees, Mikey dot forward 5. All right, and then I want to go Mikey dot pen down, which is going to put the pen back down. Then we can go Mikey dot forward 50. Alright, so just to kind of show you where we're going at with this, I'm going to run this on here and see now we have kind of the square with this part that's missing on there. Alright, and really, right, we can take this part and we could copy that, right? And then go down here and let's paste it again and let's see where we're at. Let's run this code again. Alright, so we have it on there, and then we can go to our last part where it was pen up, forward, go right, right. So let's copy that one more time and paste that on here and see how this looks. Alright, so we have on here a square with these missing corners. So that's one way we could do that, right? By saying we're lifting up the pen and going that route. Some of you who are in algebra and you're learning, or geometry, my bad, you're in geometry and you're learning things about, you know, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. What's some other kind of way where you could create this similar design? You know, there's, as you're going to see with a lot of the things we do in this class, there's going to be multiple ways to get those objectives and those tasks done. And so I'm just going to kind of let you play around with that for right now and see if you can find out more than one way to create this design that we just created. So play around with that, see what you can come up with this turtle module for Python. And the next tutorial we'll have, we're going to kind of take this one, you know, to the next logical steps through this, and we'll kind of build through this as we learn these basic kind of principles of coding and writing down directions in a way that a computer can follow them. So hopefully you enjoyed it. This turtle thing is kind of fun to play around with, fun to learn concepts with, and obviously you can see how loops are going to be incorporated to this in the near future, and see what you kind of think of this and have fun with it. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next tutorial.